I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Picture the last time you walked into a busy grocery store. You're pushing the cart, the wheels are rattling a bit, and people are rushing past you, eyes glued to their phones, dodging you like you're an obstacle in an obstacle course. Maybe you smiled at someone, and they looked right through you. It's a specific kind of coldness, isn't it? It's not hatred. It's not anger. It's something that feels far heavier. Invisibility. There is a silent epidemic moving through our generation, those of us in our 60s, 70s, and 80s. It isn't just arthritis, and it isn't just high blood pressure. It is the creeping suspicion that our most significant days are behind us. We look in the mirror and see the grey, the lines, the way our posture has settled, and a question begins to rattle around in the quiet corners of our minds. It's the same question my 15-year-old granddaughter asked me recently, after climbing into my car with a hollowness in her eyes that broke my heart. She asked, "Grandpa, does it ever feel like nothing you do actually matters?" I'm 87 years old. I have lived through wars, recessions, the raising of children, and the burying of friends. And I realized that for many of us, the fear isn't dying. The fear is living without purpose. The fear is becoming a burden. The fear is that we are simply waiting out the clock. But what if I told you that this feeling of mattering, or the lack of it, isn't just a philosophical problem? What if I told you it is a biological mechanism that is dictating how fast you age, how well your heart beats, and whether your mind stays sharp? We need to talk about what actually happens inside a body that feels lonely or useless. For decades, medicine treated the body like a machine. Replace the parts, oil the joints, keep the engine running. But we missed the most critical piece of the puzzle. We now know that a sense of isolation triggers a biological state called chronic inflammation. In the medical community, we're starting to call it inflammaging. When you feel invisible, when you feel your contribution to the tribe has ended, your body perceives a threat. It shifts into a low-grade fight or flight mode. Your cortisol levels rise, not in a spike, but in a steady drip, day after day. This drip acts like rust on your internal systems. It shortens your telomeres, the protective caps at the end of your DNA strands that determine how long your cells live. It hardens your arteries. It fogs your brain. The exhaustion you feel in the afternoon might not just be getting old. It might be the heavy metabolic cost of carrying the belief that you no longer matter. But here is the beautiful, scientifically proven flip side. Let me tell you about my neighbor, Margaret. She lived 3 houses down for 42 years. She was a 3rd-grade teacher, never married, no children. By modern standards of success, she was invisible. No millions in the bank, no verified social media account. But Margaret showed up. Every day, she knelt down to eye level with struggling children, helping them understand fractions, helping them feel safe. When Margaret died, the church was standing room only. Stories poured out about lives she had saved, simply by paying attention. Now, let's look at Margaret through the lens of longevity science. When Margaret was connecting with those students, she wasn't just being nice. She was activating her vagus nerve. This is the superhighway connecting your brain to your heart and gut. When you engage in genuine connection, when you listen, when you care, this nerve stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. It lowers your heart rate. It dilates your blood vessels. It floods your system with oxytocin and nitric oxide. In those moments of connection, Margaret was literally washing her brain of cortisol. She was reducing her inflammation. Her purpose wasn't just a hobby. It was her medicine. Her kindness was shielding her cognitive function. So, how do we, at our age, harness this biology? We cannot turn back the clock to our 30s. We cannot run marathons like we used to. And perhaps we don't have the energy to save the world, but we don't need to. The prescription for a long, vibrant health span, the quality of your years, not just the quantity, lies in a shift of perspective and a few profound changes in how we move through our days. It starts with reframing exercise into freedom. I see so many people our age terrified of the gym, or worse, injuring themselves, trying to keep up with a routine meant for a 20-year-old. Let's let that go. Instead, focus on functional movement. Think about the grandson at the pool principle. When my grandson was 7, he was terrified of water. I spent 3 weeks, 15 minutes a day, just standing in the shallow end with him. I didn't swim laps. I stood firm. I held space. That act, standing firm, is what we need. We need to train our balance so we can stand on one leg while putting on a sock. We need the leg strength to get up from the floor if we fall, playing with a grandchild. This isn't about vanity. It's about autonomy. When you move your body daily, a walk in the park, stretching while the coffee brews, practicing sitting and standing from a chair, you are signaling to your muscles that they are still needed. You are telling your biology, do not shut down. I'm still using this vessel. Next, we must tend to the neuroarchitecture of our minds. My late wife, Eleonora, was a prolific letter writer. Real letters, with stamps and ink. In an age of text messages, this seemed quaint, but neurologically, it was brilliant. Writing by hand is a complex cognitive task. It requires fine motor skills, language processing, and emotional recall simultaneously. It builds what we call cognitive reserve. Eleonora wasn't trying to stave off dementia, but she was. By reaching out to old friends, cousins, and neighbors, she was keeping the neural pathways of her brain lit up like a city at night. You don't have to write letters, but you must engage. Don't just watch television passively. If you watch a show, discuss it. If you read, tell someone about it. If you sit in a diner, like I did once, with an acquaintance named Tom, put the phone away. Look them in the eye. That ordinary conversation about kids and weather, that is a workout for your emotional brain. That is you fighting back against the atrophy of isolation. And we must respect the restoration of our internal housekeeping. I know sleep becomes elusive as we age. We wake up at 3 a.m., we nap in the chair at 2 p.m., but we must fight for our rhythm. There is a system in your brain called the glymphatic system. Think of it as the night janitor. It only comes out to work when you are in deep sleep, scrubbing away the beta amyloid plaques that are linked to Alzheimer's. If we rely too much on long afternoon naps, we steal the pressure needed for that deep night sleep. Treat your sleep like a sacred appointment. Darken the room, cool the air, quiet the mind. You are not just resting. You are cleaning the house of your consciousness. Finally, we arrive at the most difficult, yet most liberating realization. It is a lesson straight from the Stoic philosophers, filtered through the reality of being 87. We must distinguish between what we wish we had done and what we can do now. Many of us are haunted by the what-ifs. We look back at career failures, broken relationships, times we weren't patient enough parents. We carry this guilt like a heavy stone in our gut. But this guilt is inflammatory. It is toxic. To heal, we must practice radical acceptance. You cannot change the trajectory of the business you lost in 1980. You cannot unsay the angry words you spoke in 1995. But you have total, absolute authority over this very moment. You see, we have confused legacy with monuments. We think mattering means having a building named after us or leaving a massive inheritance. But the physics of humanity is different. Legacy is energy. Legacy is the way your face lights up when your grandchild walks into the room, making them feel like the most important person on earth. That feeling becomes a part of their nervous system. They will carry that safety, that confidence, into their marriages and their careers, 50 years after you are gone. You are the architect of that emotional safety. My granddaughter asked if anything we do matters. And I told her, and I am telling you, it matters because it is small. It matters because it is real. When you choose patience over irritation with the slow cashier, you are lowering your blood pressure and theirs. When you listen to a friend's grief without trying to fix it, you are healing your own sense of purpose. When you take care of your body, eating whole foods, moving gently, sleeping well, you are not just staying healthy. You are respecting the only instrument you have to play your song in this world. So, here is my challenge to you. It is simple. Tomorrow, or perhaps even today, find one small moment of connection. Call the friend you haven't spoken to in a year. Write the note. Ask the young person serving your coffee how their day is, and actually wait for the answer. Feel the shift in your chest when you do this. That warmth, that isn't just emotion. That is the biological sensation of life returning to you. That is the feeling of mattering. You are not finished. You are not invisible. As long as you have breath, you have the power to alter the atmosphere of a room and the heart of another human being. And in doing so, you save yourself. Take care of that beautiful engine of yours. I'll be right here, waiting to talk again.